Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Let's talk about Disney for a second. Think about all the incredible franchises that Disney owns. Star Wars, right? The Lion King, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Think of the movie Frozen. Have you ever thought about making your own Disney movie? Well, the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, is hinting that the future may hold the ability for regular users of Disney subscription services like Disney Plus to be able to make their own Disney films. Well, how the heck are they going to do that? Let's try and find out. Mitch Joel is with us, a tech advisor, investor, and author of Control-Alt-Delete. Hi, Mitch.
Happy Monday, Elias. Thanks for having me.
Happy Monday to you. So it was the company's fourth quarter call and the 2025 earnings call that Bob Iger says that Disney Plus is, quote, in the midst of rolling out the biggest and most significant changes from a product perspective, from a technology perspective, since they launched in 2019, the Disney Plus service. He's hinting at something big here. What is he hinting at?
Yeah, it's really hard to take it into actual action and see what the result is. There is no doubt that a company like Disney is thinking culturally. Disney is a part of fabric of our culture. We know that there is a push towards content that's maybe more personalized or more interactive, perhaps even more immersive. We're seeing this. We see this roll out in terms of even their amusement parks and what happens when you go on that Star Wars ride. It's fairly immersive. And one of the things that he brought out that the media is jumping on, including us right here, is that perhaps in the midst of rolling out some of these newer initiatives that we might be seeing the ability for users to create their own content, user-generated content, which we had long before AI. They're talking initially short form. So what can we make of this? Perhaps they're looking at some type of competitive platform as they came out with Disney Plus in relation to Netflix, something for TikTok generation, the Reels generation, perhaps even the OpenAI Sora 2 stuff that we're seeing as well. And what might that mean? And obviously that would create a lot of excitement as an initial thought of, hey, anybody can then take a Disney character and create video with it. I happen to take a look at this and think, well, this is actually perhaps a future perspective of what media can be. And I think that that can be quite telling and scary at the same time.
Well, I want to touch on both those things and the scary aspect of this. So we've already seen, like you mentioned, that tool Sora, right? Sora, the video generation tool, that's from OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
I've seen people already use it to create short segments, but segments nonetheless of TV shows, particularly cartoons, because I guess that's easier for an AI to do right now and make it to look convincing. And I've seen these videos and I've said, my God, like what stops anyone from creating a 30-minute episode of The Simpsons? Simpsons owned by Disney now. and I'm trying to figure out, well, if you're Disney, if you're any big media company with any big franchise, do you want to embrace this and let anyone and take a cut, make some money off of it and let anyone make an episode? Or do you want to be like draconian and crack down in this and not let anyone use your IP? What do you think about that?
IP and protection is going to be the big story here. I mean, even thinking about these tools, I've seen series that are ongoing right now where it's almost like a life in the stormtrooper, and it's two stormtroopers and all the travails and problems that they have. And it's very, very funny, bringing in other characters like Darth Vader, again, all part of the Disney Star Wars universe, but the Disney universe as well. And my thought, and even seeing that, was how long will it be before Disney cracks down on them? If Disney opens up, how would you know where it was created, where it was then distributed, on which platform? It sounds like an unmitigated disaster in terms of IP and protection for the company. I also think we tend to think of things. I've been writing a lot about this idea of stasis. We think of things as they are. So, short form videos, and you can make them with Yoda and Darth Vader doing something ridiculous, and that sounds funny. But how long is it until we can use these tech-based prompts to create full output content, which we can do right now? And someone goes, I want you to create for me the Elias Macko's show. Give me 4 hours of radio content, but I don't like politics. I don't like sports. I just want this type of thing. I want this type of guest. And then suddenly we're in this weird world where almost nothing is quote unquote real. Why wait for Frozen 3 as a movie when I can have it generate Frozen 3, 4, 5, and 6? And I don't want it to just be Frozen. I wanted it to include Wizard of Oz characters, and I want it to be 6 hours long, or I want it to be serialized. what people
Or you've got
I
a child, let's say
understand.
you've got a child who's crazy about Frozen, right? And they don't want to wait 2 more years for Frozen #3 to come out of theaters. And you create a Frozen 3 and you make your child one of the characters.
I mean, it's boundless in terms of that, but also it's boundless in terms of what I would call quote unquote reality, which is the idea that somebody had a vision for these characters, was able to bring a story to life, make it so popular that we'd want to do something with it. But look, we are in a world where there is a growing popularity of indie creators, and these are people who are not expecting the best quality. Content doesn't always have to be polished to perfection. And so we are also the consumers of this and pushing this idea forward. And even on the weekend, somebody had sent me a video of a dog doing something, and then I didn't realize it was AI. And my younger one pointed out that it was AI. And it kind of took me aback for a second, where I realized we are distorting reality at every twist and turn. And this sounds like a nightmare. Again, not from the IP side, yes, from that side, but more importantly, from the consumer side. Like, what connective tissue do we have as a culture if all of us are creating our own, not even realities, but non-realities in this?
I mean, so that's a really interesting point, Mitch, because we've already seen the fragmentation, right? Remember back in the day, you had 3 TV channels, and you had to go to a movie theater and watch a movie, and you only had X amount of films that could even screen in any given time. So everyone was, pop culture wise, and you only had a few radio stations, and everyone was sort of on the same page. Now what happens? Not only the fragmentation where everyone can watch what they want, but everyone can create what they want. Now, I don't know if you've thought about, well, maybe most people, they don't care to create. Most people won't be creators. Like, anyways, my mind goes in all of these different directions.
It's true that most people, like, we do have the statistics of 2% of people will create, but what happens when you lower the barrier to create is that goes away, where you can just text, I'm watching the show, it's not good. Make the show more interesting. Give me more explosions. Give me more spy thriller. You could do any. And I think the other part that we haven't discussed about this, that it's important to mention that if we are in this world where people are also creating this content, that Disney is also shifting a bit of the relationship here, right? They are shifting it from brand and I'm spectating it to I am a co-author. What does that mean for me? If other people watch it and share, do I have co-ownership? Are you just taking all this data and information and then building new stories off of that? Because now you know that directionally where people want, like, all of this stuff gets so convoluted. And that's why I keep saying it's almost like it, quote unquote, breaks reality to a certain degree, even though we're talking about fictional stories, that if we don't have any of that, where we know where it's from and who created it and the value, and also that there's some type of value exchange across it. So I think Disney is making statements for quarterly earning calls that are very important for them to amplify stock. But when they get into the nitty gritty of it, I think it's going to be, look how challenged they were to just get their content back on YouTube, which just happened. Look at just getting Disney Plus in relationship to Netflix. These are not easy hurdles. They say it, and I think it sounds interesting. And then when I dig in, I go, this sounds like a nightmare.
And you wonder what the actors are going to want to say about this.
Oh, imagine the usage on that.
Yeah. All the talent that's, the illustrators, everyone that's responsible for making these films, I imagine they're going to want to cut. It's their voice. I think we went through some strikes in Hollywood about this future.
Voices, right? Or you'll use other people, grab a little snippet of it, and then I can create an AI generated voice, which is no one's voice.
And what happens to a franchise when anyone can take that franchise and put it in any other direction? And what if it's more successful? And you think about all of these different things. Oh boy, we're really headed into uncharted waters, aren't we, Mitch?
Well, I think, look, if it's more enjoyable, more immersive, it's more that's really interesting. But the risk to that is somebody owns the framework. Somebody owns, maybe you own that micro moment of enjoyment, but who monetizes it and how does it develop into something else after? Very complicated time. So again, love these ideas. And then when I roll them out in my brain, I'm always like, it sounds like a really big headache for everyone. And
if I could make, season 8 of Star Trek: The Next Generation or Star Trek Deep Space Nine, like, sign me up. Like, but then at the same time,
like, in real time, change it. If it's not interesting, like, that's the whole thing with this. I can look at everything, go, don't like this, make this happy, or make this sad, or make this more direct. I do that already with the content. Imagine when you can do this at scale with literally live video.
Oh boy! And then another discussion for another day. What if it all turns out to be crap?
But look, a lot of the stuff we see anyways is pretty crappy. And that's the other part is it takes a lot to get to a place where people want to actually use characters in Frozen. Yeah. We can't diminish what happened from nothing to actual film, that there's a lot of beauty and creativity and compellingness in that most people can never achieve.
Mitch, got to leave it there. Thanks so much. Great talk today.
Thanks, Elias.
Mitch Joel, tech advisor, investor, and author of Control Alt Delete.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.